Hello Mouses! Welcome back to our regular scheduled programming after we've done the Law According to Batman 5 interesting episodes. I hope you enjoyed them. We'll do some more like that on other films at a later date, but for the moment we're going to get back to what we do normally. So today we have legal news. What I want to talk to you about first is the ongoing saga of the Leveson Enquiry. Today we've been looking at Alistair Campbell once again. Now anyone in Britain who has paid even the slightest bit of attention for the last 14 years knows who Alistair Campbell is. He's that guy who was the right-hand man to Tony Blair and who is not well liked because he's like the spin doctor, as they call it. If the world of politics was a pantomime, he would be the guy that gets booed and hissed as he comes on with the horrible dum-dum-dum music. Anyway, he was being interviewed today for the Leveson Enquiry, where he said that there were no express deals between Blair and Rupert Murdoch, which I thought was an interesting turn of phrase, because there are two kinds of deals. There's express and there's implied. Express is where it's stated outright that you're having a deal about such and such, and implied is where one side does something with the implication that the other party will do something for them as well. So it's interesting that he said there's no express deals, but no mention of implied. Now I'm not going to say that Blair did anything wrong in terms of Rupert Murdoch anyway. I know he did a lot of things wrong, but what I will say is the Sun seemed very, very friendly with him and didn't call him out on a huge amount of things that he did wrong. I don't like Rupert Murdoch and I certainly don't like Tony Blair, so my views on what's going on here are very biased, so I'm not going to go into too much detail about it because there's no real need for me to do that. You can look at all of the wealth of information that's come out for the last 6 months now? It's been a long time from this inquiry, and I think we're getting to the point where there's going to be a report at some point, and I certainly want to read that report because that's going to be very interesting. But let's just say, although they're claiming there were no deals, it seems pretty obvious that there were deals. Now let's move on. We have the case of Tim Larkin, a self-defense tutor from America who has been banned from entering the United Kingdom, presumably, according to the reports I found, because he criticised our self-defense laws. Now, I'm not going to say our self-defense laws are perfect. I know they're not. But he's saying that we're all worried that we'll get prosecuted if we defend ourselves and we should go back to the laws we had in the 1920s. No. No, 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 no. That is not a good idea. Because the laws we had around self-defense in the 1920s are quite black and white. You either were not guilty of harming someone because of self-defense, or you went overboard and you killed them, at which point you hadn't ended up on trial for murder and you could end up going to the gallows. I'm not really interested in bringing that kind of law back. Last time we hanged someone was in the 1960s, and I think it's best that we don't throw away 50 years worth of not killing people. So let's have a look at what we got for self-defense. Well, basically, any reasonable use of force is acceptable to defend yourself. If a person is attacking you with only fists, then your reasonable self-defense is to attack them back with fists and maybe give them a good kicking. If a person is attacking you with a knife, you can defend yourself with a knife. If looks like he's going to kill you with a knife, you can defend yourself with lethal force. And if he pulls a gun and it looks like he's going to use it on you, you can respond with lethal force. That's our self-defense rules. It's basically like for like. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with having a like for like system? Well, if you don't go overboard, you're fine. There's no real reason to go back to the 1920s where you can get away with just about everything, because that encourages people to go overboard, and that's not right. So, although I don't agree with the guy's views, I still think he has the right to say them. If he wants to say, let's go back to archaic methods of self-defense and have those enshrined in law, then he's welcome to. Why isn't he allowed into the country? This just seems a bit overboard. So, shame on the Home Office for issuing a ban on letting this guy, who all he was coming here to do was do a few seminars and maybe talk at a couple of conferences. That's not really too bad. It's not like he's coming here to petition the government to bring back archaic laws. It's not like he's Abu Hamza or anyone like that. He's not coming in shouting death to the West. So this is a bit overboard in terms of a ban, and it's not what the bans were designed and brought in for. So, bad move to the Home Office on that one. Okay, let's end on a lighter note. The BBC has been talking to a lot of people about whether Buckingham Palace looks nice or not. This building, originally Buckingham House, from the 18th century, was built as residence for the Duke of Buckingham, and was bought up by King George III as somewhere to live when he came to London for games and things like that, but was then extended by King George IV, who we all know as the big fat one who spent all of the country's money. He expanded it with the help of an architect, and it's been added on to every now and again ever since, because none of the royals who ever lived there, and there are a few that actually bother living there because most of them see it more as a place of work than a place of residence, because none of them like it. But here's the funny thing, the public look at it and go, yeah, but that's Buckingham Palace. Good on Buckingham Palace, that's really nice. So it just goes to show that if it's a famous and important building, it could look like an absolute eyesore and most people won't care. And on that note, I've been Zoe Kirk-Robinson, you've been watching the video, and I'll see you tomorrow.